How you doing, Eric? Good to see you.
Great, Jerry. Thanks. And I appreciate the warm intro. You make me feel like I'm 5'8" when I'm only 5'7.5". I think I grew a half inch from just listening to you.
Oh, all right. Well, for 5'7.5" and in a quarter there, it doesn't matter because as I mentioned in the intro, I did want to just spend a minute on this. That your Navy SEAL commander background. I have a real question. I don't know how often you get this, and I will say if Neil asked you this yesterday, I apologize. Um, right now, Terminal List is like a really popular show. Navy SEALs of all of the branches and all of the special forces and stuff. I feel like Navy SEALs are the most like romanticized and made to look like the coolest, right? Chuck Norris made a push for Delta Force back in the 80s, but for the most part, it's Navy SEALs. How close to reality is this dramatization? Because this is all I see of Navy SEALs. You were or are, I don't know what the right verb is, a Navy SEAL. So is there any correlation, or is it far in just Hollywood?
Well, first of all, we are the coolest. Don't let the Marines
Okay.
tell you different. Semper Fi Marines, but we're cooler. Rangers, the hair is too short. I mean, to be quite honest, and it's just not as cool. So hair, and we all. I'm just kidding there. I have not seen it's on my list, but to be honest with you, I'm in startup mode, so I spend all my time working. It's on my list. I actually really want to see Terminal List. I've heard it's amazing. Um,
Yeah, it is very, very good. Chris Pratt does a good job. Good story. I've actually been told that it's based on a book, and the book's better, like every movie and made for TV show. So that's pretty cool. But let's pivot and get into what we're really here to talk about. World of Haiku. Now, this, as I said in the intro, is a very, very cool single player experience right now of learning, cybersecurity in a kind of, cyberpunk era. So that's like the 5 second version or the TLDR. Can you put in your own words and explain to chat today what is the world of haiku?
Yeah, I appreciate that. So my last company, Centec Global, I sold that to Deloitte in July of last year, and we hired a lot of cybersecurity people. We had tens of millions of dollars of cybersecurity contracts, and so I spent a lot of time hiring cybersecurity people. And one of the things I noted is that regardless of the degree, regardless of the certification, I would get people who more often than not couldn't do the job from day one. They didn't have the hands-on keyboard experience. Not their fault. I mean, it's not like they had the ability to choose what was taught to them in the certification or the degree, but they just couldn't do it. And I would find some people who had no degree. Sometimes they had certifications, but they were just good, really good at what they
Mm-hmm.
did. And I thought there's got to be a way to teach people the hands-on skills. This isn't rocket science.
Whoops.
This isn't that hard.
Sorry about
That to
that.
be able to actually. Yep, sorry, go ahead.
No,
That
no, no,
was that
keep
was
going. I wanted to pull up this, and I'm producing also, Eric. So please
okay.
continue. Yes.
You're like one of those guys who, you see the band member, the guy on the street, he's got the drums and he's got the harmonica and he's got all that stuff.
Yep, yep,
Um,
one man band, absolutely. So I
one
didn't mean
man,
to derail you, but please continue.
yeah,
Practical skills are in demand.
yeah, practical, well, required, right? And so that's what we're
Hmm.
trying to hire for is practical skills. And so we actually developed the technology, the back end AWS engine that we use in Haiku Pro while I was still at Centec. Deloitte, I took that technology when I sold the company, so I kept all that. And I thought, and we'd also about probably 6 years ago, we looked at buying a spinoff out of a company called SAIC called Cyber Nexus, and it was a cyber capture CTF platform. Not very successful. And when we left there, I talked to the guy that I was with, and I said, "What do you think?" He goes, "We should rebuild this in the cloud." I said, "Not only that, but we should offer it to consumers instead of just offering it to academia and to government, because there was something they weren't doing, and I thought it was an untapped, field. Now, back then, having a cyber range in the cloud was unique at all. There are plenty of cyber ranges. Most of them sit in the cloud, as a matter of fact. I would offer, but
Hmm.
the idea of doing something that's appealing straight to consumers, there are some other tools that have come up there to do that. TryHackMe came out of nowhere 2 years ago. They
Hmm.
did a fantastic job. My hat's off to those guys. Having started a number of businesses, the fact that they came straight out of college and they're up to 1.5 million users, they've done a great job of that. But what I really want to do is I want to be able to get people into cybersecurity who might not be able to get in there, because we've had this number floating around for 3.5 million, job skill gap for a number of years. And whether there are lies, damn lies, and statistics.
Hmm.
Whatever you believe in that, if you talk to any employer, they can't hire enough cybersecurity people. On the other hand, when we just put a job rec out for one of our cybersecurity folks a few months ago, 95% of the people who were applying were from a career other than cybersecurity, and they were trying to get in. And I thought there's a huge gap in here. And as I talk to people, I keep hearing that employers want they want an experience. And I tell people when they ask me, what should I get? And I'm like, get an internship. If you can even do an unpaid internship, you get that in your resume with somebody to vouch that you were in that job. That is probably the key. But those internships are hard to get because
Hmm.
from a company's perspective, an internship isn't just one person adding value. It's two people who are learning, right? So it takes me somebody to manage the intern plus the intern themselves. And the reality is they're learning and you're trying it's a long-term investment, so only large companies can afford to do that, and so internships are few and far between. And so the second option is, certifications I think are good. I actually personally, I kind of value certifications a little higher than I value a degree. I think a degree is good if you're looking at somebody for a long-term management position and you want them to have the 2 years of, general education and some of the other things. But if I really want somebody to do the work, I want more proof that they can do the work. I think that some cybersecurity, not all of it, granted, is becoming more a role where it's more about hands-on skills like a plumber. Nobody asks their plumber, where did you go to college, right? Nobody
Hmm.
cares. Are you going to fix my pipes or are you not going to fix my pipes? Electrician, same sort of thing. It's a journeyman sort of trade and extremely lucrative trades, right? I mean, a good plumber will make a couple $100,000 a year, maybe more. But I really do think that's more where cybersecurity is going. Not everything. I mean, if you're going to be I don't know, creating algorithms, you may need a degree in math, maybe even an advanced degree in math, maybe a PhD. If you're going to be writing malware, maybe not so much, but it really depends. If you're going to be cracking cryptography, unless you're Good Will Hunting, you can do it in your head, then maybe you need to go ahead and get a degree for that. But for a lot of the hands-on work that you need, I mean, being a SOC analyst, you do not need a degree to be a SOC analyst. Being a pen tester, you don't need a degree to be a pen tester. Being a forensics analyst, you don't need a degree for any of these things. And so that's what we're trying to do with our Haiku Pro, convoluted way. So what is World of Haiku? We actually created a video game that teaches you cybersecurity skills, and this was actually kind of born. We came out with a sort of a marketing alpha sort of product, so a testing the market sort of product called the Haiku Range, and we only had a few users on it, so it's maybe a few hundred users. So I don't know if anybody has actually on this chat has actually used the Haiku Range, but it was basically an AWS background back end, and you'd go in there and through it. We take you through the hero story sort of approach, and they would be able to go ahead and access an actual Kali Linux box and do the challenges that we were taking them through in the story in that Kali Linux backend. So what we got was immediate feedback from our audience, which is that from people who said, "I love the idea of having a video game that teaches me cybersecurity, but this is too darn hard. I don't know
Mm.
what to do with a command prompt, and this is just too hard." The other was from cybersecurity professionals who said, "Hey, can you just give me a Kali box attached to some network so I can go bang on it, right? Because I've got a full network back here and I can pivot and do all kinds of stuff. But you're really distracting me with all this stuff in the front end with people talking to me and all this other stuff. I just want to go ahead and do what I want to do." And so I realized these are two different audiences, and we're never going to get them on the same product. So we actually hired a full game dev team, and Vincent leads it. Very talented. We outsource a lot of our work off to Ukraine, which has very talented game development resources. And we built in Unity the World of Haiku. And rather than and one of the things we found is that as people went through and they were working on our Haiku Range product, we didn't have enough control over the experience. So they'd get lost somewhere. We'd watch them doing it, and we didn't have enough code on the front end to be able to control where they're going. They would just get lost in the Kali Linux box.
Hmm.
And so we simulated, rather than having an actual product like we in AWS like we did before, we simulated a full network. We simulated the Linux environment, so we could control, make it a lot simpler. I was just giving a demo of a product to somebody who was non-technical completely, and I explained to him he didn't know what a man command was, he didn't know what Linux was, had never been there. I said, so this is what we have in World of Haiku for Nmap, and I type in Nmap, and you get 5 lines, and it's nicely highlighted. This is the important thing you need to know. I said, here's a Linux box, and here's what you get when you type Nmap, and it's like 5 pages of switch.
Yeah.
I said, so you can see why people go and say, hey, I've got Linux, I'm going to learn it on my own. And the first thing you need to say, well, I don't need World of Haiku, or I don't need anything Nmap. I'm just going to type it in and it tells me everything I need to do. And it does, but it's 5 pages. And you really have to be motivated and good to be able to read through that and try to figure out exactly what Nmap is and go and play on your own. So in World of Haiku, we try to make all that easier. We try to, basically give you simplified results. You have a man that actually tracks all the commands you've done, and you only get that added to as you've completed a command. So it's very basic. And so I think for, some people that are very advanced, unless they really enjoy the idea that, hey, this is about my profession, they may look at it and go, okay, this is really overly simplified. I know what Nmap is, and
Hmm.
and some of the comments I've had is, hey, this isn't a full Linux kernel. I can't do this and I can't do that, and part of it is, things we need to fix. I've gotten the feedback that we have to have tab complete um, in there, and I mean, I've gotten that 50 times maybe, and so we're
You
going to put
definitely
tab.
got it once from two thumbs and smiles over here. Yeah.
You definitely did. So we have a free DLC we're doing end of September. We're coming out. We're gonna have tab complete in there. We're adding additional content, but some of the things, it's just kind of like I, we're simulating Linux. I'm not rebuilding an entire Linux kernel in Unity. I mean, I wish I
Right.
had, $1 million and a team of 20 people to do that. I don't. So I'm focusing on the things that I think are going to get the most bang for the buck and help the most people get the furthest in learning.
Yeah. So, a couple things, and I saw a question really quick. I just want to highlight this and bring it up because it's important. So, Ashley asked, how do I sign up? Tell me again. So, Ashley, in the description below or in the show notes, I know you're on LinkedIn, so I think it shows up in there, but there is a link that you can click on and it'll take you right over to where you need to go. If it doesn't show up there, Ashley, just go to the Simply Cyber YouTube channel. There is a URL at the top in an overlay header right above my head that says Simply Cyber IO streams. Just go there. You can join the YouTube stream, which is a richer experience, and you'll be able to, definitely see those links at that point too. Quantifiable Quasar, it's Haiku, not Hailu. I want you to be able to enter correctly. So one thing that Eric mentioned about World of Haiku, and you could see this is the demo video right here, very, very cool, well done, is that, and I wanted to point this out because I really appreciated it. I've been working in tech for a long time. I'm very comfortable running around in Linux. And in the game, it starts off, like, just so people know, it kind of starts off with like one world and then you start unlocking worlds or stages, right? Think of it as like, unlocks. The first world, it really does take you through and kind of explain the command and then let you do it. But what is interesting, people who know Linux will know what I'm talking about. Normally, when you run a command like nmap, you actually almost always add arguments to it, right? TAC SA, TAC T, TAC, T4, TAC A, like whatever ports. Like, and when you first run nmap, you literally just do nmap IP address, right? And they've already kind of covered IP address. And I really, really appreciate it. Like I said it on stream, I'm like, no, I said nobody would run nmap this way. This doesn't make sense. But then as I thought more about who you're actually targeting, you have to assume no background, no experience, and you need to build them up foundationally and build it up like with scaffolding. And I really appreciated that because, like you said before, like it can be too complicated. And frankly, I find people get frustrated and just they say, oh, this must be not for me. Like I obviously don't get it. I won't ever get it. And for you to bring it up that way is pretty cool. And then obviously being able to unlock additional commands and parameters, especially to use another example. There's one part of the game where you use John the Ripper, a well-known password cracking tool that's been around for a million years. And when you run it, you kind of just run it against a file. But I said, normally you always have to pass a word list. It makes no sense why you wouldn't pass a word list. And then later on in the game, you have to upgrade your word list, which is something that is true. And then it really built on top of itself. So Eric, I really appreciate the attention to detail regarding the perspective and the worldview and the experiences of the individual trying to play the game, trying to learn, and being able to accommodate any skill level. I genuinely appreciate that you guys took that time and effort.
I love
It sounds
that.
like it was really a focus of yourself, of the project.
Well, I'd love to talk about that for a second. By the way, the video you're watching, the pretty lady who's in there, Steffi, she's actually our UI UX developer. She worked with her friends to develop that costume. The other folks, there's another video. I don't know if you can bring it up. It's actually a lot. This one's really cool, but that one's even more dramatic.
What
We
do I
actually,
click on? What do I click on?
it's on
The red?
our YouTube channel. It's the featured video.
Oh,
Haiku.
okay. Yeah. Hold on one second.
Yeah.
Keep
And that
talking.
one is we get some great feedback on the other video. But all those people in there are all either employees or friends of Haiku, and they created their own costumes. They're in cosplay.
You'll have to tell me your YouTube channel because
Haiku
the algorithm's all polluted. It's pulling up all my World of Haiku Let's Play videos.
it is. Yeah, it's Haiku Inc. Let me see what the
Okay. Okay. Cool. Let me
yeah,
do that.
yeah, INC Haiku.
Yep. I got you. Here we go. Let's pull it up. Now, is this something that we want to watch?
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, you
All right.
definitely. Yep.
I'm not sure. Here, I'm not sure chat's gonna be able to listen, but let's do this. You might get reverberation in your ears really quick, but chat, I think you're gonna get to listen to this. Okay. Let's do. I have to change my audio. I will maximize it. I just have to change my audio output. Pick it up. You're gonna start getting echoes though. You might have to mute Eric.
Okay. Good. Do that.
All right, let's watch it. Hopefully you can hear it.
Transmitting new intel. A worldwide nuclear event is imminent. You must stop the launch.
Enter the world of Haiku and join the next generation of cybersecurity professionals. The first and only of its kind. World of Haiku is a gamified cyberpunk experience that provides aspiring cybersecurity professionals with fast, affordable training for a rewarding cybersecurity career, all for the cost of an online game. Press play to enter a dystopian cyberpunk world where evil dwells, challenges emerge, and villains reign over the grid. As you advance through the game missions, you gain real-world cybersecurity hacking skills with each progression. Cybersecurity certifications with hands-on training. The Haiku product suite is designed to help you level up in the real world and take you from complete novice to skilled professional. World of Haiku will teach you cybersecurity fundamentals while turning game time into career-building time, allowing you to break into the cybersecurity industry without breaking the bank. Regardless of your experience, World of Haiku will train you to level up your skills and defeat cyber attacks while combating nefarious online factions. Master real-world hacking skills within the game to earn in-game badges and accomplishments. Share your newly acquired skills on employment sites such as LinkedIn using the Haiku Job Connect and Haiku Skills Resume to help you connect with employment opportunities. Boost your signal, join the community, embark on your cybersecurity mission, and enter the world of Haiku. Visit worldofhaiku.com to learn more.
Jeez. Wow, dude, that was absolutely fantastic, Eric. Wow,
Cool.
that was super cool. Chat loved it. All minus one person. I'm gonna see it. I'm gonna show it up. Mark Schrader said, "Love the graphics and concept." That really echoes a lot of what they were saying. I do want to call up Sherry though. Sherry does wonder if maybe you could work a John Wayne or a Clint Eastwood up in there.
So it's 64. Then we should put Charlton Heston. I mean, if you're 64, then you remember Charlton Heston.
Absolutely. Wow, that is really cool. Let me bring this back up. Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Eric. I had not seen that before, and that was pretty cool.
Sorry, is there an echo?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I have to. This is guys. Let me introduce Simply Cyber, where we have audio issues at least once a show. Eric, literally, audio issues should be manifested into a visual identity because there is an audio issue all the time. I told you it's a little bit different of a production situation over here. So please continue.
Okay, yeah, yeah. So a couple things with that video. So some of the folks in chat were in there. The voice actress Diamond, she was also Abaddon, the evil AI, female AI, and all the characters are straight from the game. We spent a lot of time on that when we actually went to Scottsdale, where the filming company was. The actress Danielle, who plays Hacker Girl, that's her name. She was the only person who wasn't. She was actually an extra that we hired for that, but all those costumes were designed by our people. It's funny that that video seems to inspire reactions. One person who wrote a review on PC Gamer, he called the first character in there a cyber clown because of the thing, and he kept ragging on it. It was I mean, it was actually not a terrible review, except for the fact he didn't actually review the game. He just reviewed the video. And I got to say, people in his comments tore him up. They said, "So you're just doing a hit piece on the video? You never actually played the game. This game is actually pretty cool." Which led to another thing I realized, that we've gotten a very loyal and dedicated following to the game from people that are in the cybersecurity community. Our lead developer said to me as we were starting to get comments on that video, he said, "Hey, we can't have our marketing people, go in there and be too enthusiastic about the game. It's not a good look." And I said, "Okay, well, let me take a look at it." I looked and I said, "These are our marketing people." I said, "I don't know who these people are." And he said, "These are people who really love the game, and they're actively, engaging in verbal fisticuffs online with people that don't give it a fair treatment, that discount it because they say it's a stupid game, or they don't like the video or something like that." But yeah, everybody had fun doing that video. I personally love that video, and a lot of people said this is it's so cheesy, it's cringy, and other people said absolutely, that's why I love it so much. I think
Yeah,
some
I
of
mean,
the
I mean,
comments.
I mean, it's so cheesy, it's cringy. I mean, what do you like? What are you talking about? Like, so is Tron I mean, it's cool.
Yes.
It's like it's to me, it's not cheesy because it's like you've leaned in all the way. It would be cheesy if you went like halfway.
Yeah.
It's clearly a piece, and appreciate Diamond being in chat today. Obviously, celebrity, right? Movie star from the show. So very, very, very cool. I do really appreciate that. Um, I had so many things I wanted to talk to you about, and I just got ultimately
I don't think I
derailed.
answered it. I think I got distracted. You had asked a question before. I just got focused on was. I apologize. I don't know if you had it
No,
written down.
no, no. I mean, the video is super awesome.
I was working on
So I guess no, it's good. I guess you know what. So talking about the video, I'm just gonna freestyle right now, Eric. So
it.
talking about the video, like, what inspired you, like, for the format, like the like the setting, the cyberpunk, like, for example, like, there are other games, and there's a question in chat about 19.4, which I'm not familiar with, but there are other cybersecurity
Right.
video games, right? And some of them do Cyberpunk 2077, and some, but that's not an educational tool. A lot of the educational tools are void of story, essentially. So what inspired World of Haiku to be set when it was set in that kind of theme?
Part of it was Francis Kong, Dr. Francis Kong. He's actually a pediatrician by training. Is our gamification expert. He's the one that wrote up the entire mythos, the entire lore. And to be honest with you, when I first read it, I thought this is probably like a compilation of the worst B movies I've ever seen that have to do with cyberpunk. And I wasn't wrong, really. I mean, it really is. On the other hand, when it's all together, when everything comes together like any story, like when I saw that video, it kind of brought it all home to me because all those characters are in there, Agenda 21, they're the bad guys and the good guys are all teaming together. And I was like, this is actually really cool. And people really love the lore. Somebody on Neil's stream last night said, "Hey, are you guys going to have merch that we can get?" People said, "I'd love a plushie of Rascal." And so Mark, our marketing director, is going to go out and try to see if we can, get some merch, built for us.
Mm-hmm.
But the idea was what's appealing, what's interesting. We want the role playing game for a few different reasons. One is we really wanted to get there's far more men than women, obviously, in cybersecurity. Not obvious to everybody, but it's pretty obvious for anybody in this. But 60% of role playing game players are women. Women are actually more attracted to role playing games than anything else. So we wanted to have a role playing game sort of format for that. That seemed to be a very natural sort of fit to put it in the future. We had to do a few different things, like everybody saw who's played the game. That in the beginning we say, "Hey, why are we using 20th century Linux if we're 50 years in the future? Isn't there anything better?" So we did a little a little hand of God sort of manipulation there, and said, well, it's the only one that can get past the AIs because it's so old they don't recognize it anymore.
Yeah, I liked that plot point.
Okay, good. That was mine. Thank you. I
You covered the
appreciate
plot hole. I actually I recognized that and thought that was cool.
Otherwise, we'd be cheating, teaching nonsense, and that's kind of, if you look at games like Hacknet. Somebody had said something on one of our streams about, hey, Hacknet is better, and I said I love Hacknet. I actually love Hacknet, but one of the things I realized as both for competitive research and because I enjoyed it is I'm not learning anything that I can really use. Typing connect to a computer doesn't. You can't do anything. I'm not developing the muscle memory that you get, and that's kind of the feedback I got, from those comments I had, from the. I think I mentioned it on this stream, on this conversation, was the person that said, "Hey, I get muscle memory from doing this." You don't get any muscle memory from typing the wrong commands. You make a general idea of how the hacking process works, which is good. Don't get me wrong; it's very helpful, but you're not actually developing the muscle memory of typing in the commands. I have heard 19.4, again, same sort of thing. It's got some commands that are kind of similar, and we actually went back and forth. We go back and forth on this all the time in the dev meetings. And we kept coming back to a number of tenets that we developed the game to. One is it had to be fun. Two, it had to teach real world commands, because a few times we said in there, hey, we can do a made up command that does this. And I said, if it's not something they're going to use in the real world, we're not going to do it. Be more fun from a game perspective. There are games out there that do that, and that's not what we're trying to do. Everything they do, I want it to be a real world command that they can use, and we can document their use of that real world command, and then they can show that later. And I don't know if you want to talk about that later, but I mean, that's one of the things we do. We track everything everybody does in World of Haiku. So when you look at your badges going up and you've done Nmap 20 times and you spent an hour and 4 minutes doing that, that goes into our database. That combines with the data that you're getting when you do Haiku Pros and you've done ranges that require penetration testing and reconnaissance. And that all goes into your Haiku skills resume, skills spelled with a Z at the end. And that way you can show employers, I have done this many hours of this, of these particular skills. And here's my rating: apprentice level 1, 2, 3, journeyman 1, 2, 3, master. And we came up with that. I think I mentioned I'm a founding member of the Cyber Center of Excellence because so many employers, said, "Hey, I'd love to get an idea of what kind of hands-on experience people have, and I can't get that from their degrees, and I can't get that from certifications. How do I actually do this?" And so I went and talked to all the CEOs, and I sent them out surveys, and I said, "Hey, what would be useful to you? And how do we make this something that will help you in your hiring process identify the right candidates?" And that's how we came up with a skills resume. And so what that's going to do is that when you go and apply for a job, then you can actually show somebody, and we're going to make it available on the web so you can look at it. Hey, I have, in SOC analyst, for example, I have 100 hours of training, and I have this many hours in this particular command and this many in that particular command. You can drill down into it so that it's one more data point. And I've had people say, will that get me a job? And I'm like, I don't know if it will get you a job on your own, but if it's you and somebody exactly equal who has the same certifications and same background, and you can actually demonstrate without the employer having to have their HR department bend over backwards to create a cybersecurity challenge, because most HR departments are incapable of doing that. It looks like they have 100 hours of training in what we did. Okay, this is good. We like this. And then the other thing we do is we have a Job Connect feature where we track all the different skills that you have. And so if you've used Nmap, we go out to, it's the MZ database. I think they just changed the name of it, but it goes to Indeed, Dice, and all the rest of it. It pulls in jobs that are directly related to that. So if a job is asking for Nmap, it'll present jobs in front of you that are asking for Nmap. Now, most of the time, you're not going to qualify for the rest of the things on that job, right? But what it does, it gives you an idea as to what jobs are out there, so that you know what you need to do in order to be able to get there. And on our, I had one young lady on our Discord. She had asked me the question. That's pretty funny.
I love it.
She asked me the question: How do I get this entry level job? I applied for 12 entry level jobs, and I haven't gotten any of them. I said, "Have you tried SOC analyst?" And she started Googling, and she goes, "Oh, there's a ton of them, and they're all entry level." And that made me think too, is people aren't even aware of the jobs that are presented with a job that's titled something you never even knew was a job that you could be qualified for. Sales engineer. I didn't know I was qualified to be a sales engineer. And so we really are trying to close that gap between people who want to get into cybersecurity and the employers who want to hire them. And so we're trying to make sure that they're speaking each other's language. The people who are trying to get the skills are getting the skills the employers are looking for. The employers are recognizing those skills, and we close that gap.
All right. Well, you just like unlocked and opened up we took like World of Haiku and put it over here, and we just launched into something pretty awesome that I took a million notes here on key points that I want to, pull the thread at, Eric. Before I do that, how about we raffle off half the prizes? Because we're about halfway through the show, and I know people are hungry for this. So, guys, if you want to enter, hopefully you've done it already. You probably may have accidentally entered. If you just have typed the word haiku at any point, you will be entered into the raffle. Eric has donated 10 prizes to the stream today, and we're going to choose 5 license keys right now. So we're going to just rip it. Good luck to everybody. If you have it, comment in chat or whatever so we can get the prize to somebody else. But good luck to everybody. We're just going to start picking it. You ready? Here we go. First winner, Parker Garside. Parker, get with me on Discord or one of the mods, base case perhaps, and we can get you there. Next winner, Matthew. Wow. Matthew, that is a profile pic, man. Wow. Okay. Next one is CK Mays. CKMAYES. I like that one. How many is that, Eric? Is that 3? I think it's 3.
That was 3. Yep, that was 3.
Okay, let's keep rolling. Number 4 is Jay Smith. Prior raffle winner. Might have to check the code to see if Jay Smith has been messing with things, because Jay Smith won a raffle the other day too. And our final winner for this segment is Alan Woodrum. Alan Woodrum. All right, winners, congratulations, everybody. You just won access to World of Haiku and all of the DLC content that's going to be coming out in September, Eric just mentioned. So get with me or get with one of the mods in chat, Base or Josh Mason, if you guys can. Please help with the winners. Okay, so pivoting back, Eric, you just mentioned a million things that take this from being a game to a not. Okay, so you just took it from being a game that does teach something, right, to the first step in launching a career, right? So now there's real world impact. This isn't just goofing around Saturday night at 11 p.m. Playing video games. This is workforce development type stuff. So the first thing you mentioned was how you are tracking what people are doing in the game and getting a skill mapping, right? So you said there's multiple levels, rookie, pro, elder. Like, I know that those weren't the right levels, but you basically said there's tiers of experience. How are you mapping those things? Is it how far you get in the game? Is it how many times you type a command? Is it unsuccessful attempts knock you down? What is, and that might be secret sauce, I don't know, but like, how are you, can you please go into greater detail on how you're mapping practical skills to individual gameplay?
Yeah, unsuccessful attempts don't knock you down. We were doing some research on that. And by the way, did I mention the Gamer's Brain by Celia Hoden?
No, you didn't. What is it?
Okay, I apologize because I did an hour. It wasn't a stream, but it was a demo for a potential partner, and so I'm trying to keep my my 2 different tracks separate.
Oh yeah, no problem.
So I think that was actually what you'd asked about before, the learning process. And so the learning process, it was really important that we actually have a game that teaches you skills, and games teach you skills, right? I love Elder Scrolls when I have time. It's funny because I run a video game company, but it's hard to find time to actually play the video games. But the potion making function in there, it's pretty complex. I mean, you got to go through and you got to learn that, and you learn it and you remember it. If you do a first person shooter like I love Destiny 2, then learning how to do all the commands and you everything, it's a way to learn. I played Dungeons and Dragons when I was a kid, and I can still tell you the difference between a hippogriff and a manticore and a trebuchet and arbalest. It's completely useless information that doesn't do me any good, but it worked its way into my long-term memory. And so that was one of our goals with this, was video games teach us, whether we want them to or not. They teach us, and it's not just because the amount of time we spend on. There is something about them that ingrains that information into our long-term memory. How do we repurpose that screen time from teaching you, or I'll say it in a non-pejorative way, useless information to useful information that can actually get you a job? And so there's a great book, Brain, by a brilliant Celia Hoden, and she talks about exactly that. She's not talking about it in the purpose of trying to create educational games. She's talking about it from the purpose of how do games actually teach you, because she's just trying to teach you how to write a good game so that your players learn the skills that will allow them to complete the game. We repurpose that into how do we have a great game that teaches them person's skills that they retain and can use to get a job later. And I mean, just one bit of information out of the hundreds she has in there is that she says, that's exactly it. Yeah, great book. Introduce a concept once, introduce it a second time, introduce a different concept to give the brain a break, and then introduce a third concept as sort of a test or a trial or a fight or something like that. And that moves the particular thing you're trying to teach from short-term memory to working memory to long-term memory. And we incorporated that in World of Haiku, and we're continuing to incorporate that. And I can tell when we did it really well as I play through the game myself. I'm like, oh, that clicked. And when I see these comments, like the person that said, "Hey, I've had Linux installed for a month and I haven't been able to, get muscle memory." This is the first one that taught me muscle memory. The Australian Defence Force person who said, "I have PTSD and I haven't been able to focus, even though I really want to get into cybersecurity. This game is the first way I've been able to focus." I realized, okay, we're getting there, right? We're on the path that we're going. We need to do more of this because this is working for people. People are actually really learning how to do these skills. And now we need to apply that to more skills, more tools, more complex concepts while retaining and I actually told people, I said in the very beginning when we released this, I want to get this learning engine, this, rinse repeat cycle of learning. I want to get this down and make sure we've got it. Then let's expand that out and we'll have more tools. And, I'd asked in our Discord feed, what does everybody think about having Metasploit in there? And people came back with great ideas on that. Metasploit's huge, obviously, right? We'd have to, create subsets of it because we're creating a simulated version of it in there. All that learning, and everybody on the team do that. The other thing that we tried to do is we said it has to be fun and it has to be accessible. So I have 4 kids. My 2 daughters are 13 and 14. Brilliant young women, but no interest in cybersecurity at all. And so I said, if my daughters won't play this game, then we failed. And because they have zero interest in cybersecurity, but I want to appeal to people that don't have any interest in cybersecurity. Now, at the end of it, they still may not want to get into cybersecurity, but if even 5% of them do, we've increased the number of people who can, who have been introduced to the field, exponentially. And so it was pretty good. I actually dropped into a Discord meeting one time and I heard Francis, our project manager, telling people, and if Eric's daughters don't want to play the game, then it's worth it. We failed. I'm like, okay, good. Everybody internalized that. We got that one down. So yeah, I mean, we absolutely wanted to create a game that teaches. We didn't want to create another Hacknet or Grey Hack, great games, but we wanted that. And then I said, beyond that, try Hack Me and play, just kind of competitive that. And at least I was going through one room there, and I thought, okay, I finished it. Now, what have I learned, and what does this mean in the bigger context? Does this get me a certification? It's working towards a badge. But what does that badge do for me? What kind of jobs can I get? And that's why we certainly tried to have everything we do tie back to a certification. In World of Haiku, those categories you see in the skill tree, those are all basically different categories that map back to the CEH. And then we're gonna in the future have OSCP and PNPT and some of the others that were out there. There are so many certifications out there. It's one of those things we need to filter down and figure out what's most important to our audience. And that's why we use this Discord channel. I don't know if you have the link to our Discord. It's called Haiku Underground. I don't know if I have the ability to
No,
paste.
I don't. But if mods or someone wants to drop it in chat to me, I will put it on stage so people can join it. What is the Discord server used for?
So we use Discord. So we use it to communicate with our players. People use it for in-game peer help. We use it. We have fun little grid games in there where we talk about cybersecurity issues. We use it for people that want to post jobs. We don't have many people posting jobs right now, but we post our own jobs in there. Like we were looking for game writers and range builders, and so we posted that in there. Diamond, would you mind putting that in the chat?
Yeah. Diamond drops it, the invite. I'll put it on stream so people can see it, and then hopefully they can click on it.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah.
So. Sorry, I forgot where I was going.
No. So I was talking about the skill tree and the development. So all right. So let's say you said you're going to integrate it with actual real jobs. So then you can play the game, step through, and then see what jobs are available. Now, some people have asked this. I'm going to ask this in kind of an all-encompassing, inclusive way to touch on multiple people's questions because, chat, I do see your questions. I'm just facilitating here. Right now, it's very much focused on pen testing, right? So some people have been asking about ICSOT. Some people have been asking about the defensive side. If I'm using this game and building skill to be able to map and see what kind of jobs are available in that Indeed database through that Job Connect feature that you mentioned, right? Being facilitated positions that I'm qualified for. what I guess what's the roadmap, or is it going to be focused on pen testing and red team, or is it bigger picture? Like, I guess, can you kind of speak to how that's what's that looking like?
Yeah, and sorry, just to answer Diamond, it didn't show up in the chat. It may be blocking links. That might be the reason why. I don't know
Oh,
why.
oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
Actually, you know what, Diamond? For what it's worth, here, join Simply Cybers. You send it, yeah, send it to Base Case or send it to me on my server. There you go. And one way or the other, we will get it. I assure you. Or Base or Justin Gold. Justin Gold, connect with Diamond, please. Justin's a mod too. So, anyways,
awesome.
please continue.
Sorry, what was the last part of the question? I did the forbidden. I actually read the chat and I got
Oh
distracted.
yeah, no. It's all good. It's all good. I basically said right now the skills are all pen testing focused. What's the roadmap for OT defensive? Maybe
Yeah,
some
so that was
GRC love, Eric. Maybe some GRC love. I'm just saying. Okay, please go.
everything in its own time. So that was the immediate feedback we had, and we actually thought that too. And that we're getting that from industry, from hiring people. We're getting from people is that red team is fun and sexy, and everybody wants to be a hacker. But most of the jobs, it's maybe 5% of the jobs are actually red team and pen testing, and the other 95% are all the rest of the things. I mean, at Centec, we had I think one pen tester at a time. The other 40, 50 people on our cybersecurity team were all compliance people for DoD compliance, DICAP. So no, so in Haiku Pro, we actually are going out with a third of the range is offensive, a third of the range is defensive, forensic, and that's the kind of mix that we're trying to keep going forward. We're actually in the upcoming DLC. We've had so much feedback that we'd love to see a blue team. So we're actually, I'll give a little bit. It's not really a spoiler, but it might be a spoiler for anybody that wants to stay surprised. We're going to have a blue team type of adventure in the upcoming DLC, so that you can play from the blue side and test on different defensive skills. We're still going to have an offensive side, and we're going to introduce some new tools in there. We're going to have tab complete, absolutely. And we're going to have hopefully another little surprise in there that'll be some repeatability so people can go and hone their skills through a side mission sort of thing like you'll see in, most games.
Cool. I love it. So where are you, I guess, I'm doing something also to get that Discord link up here, but where are you pulling from for the labs and for like what skills are in demand? I mean, are you looking at industry open jobs, filtering by frequency of skills and then putting them in, or who's making the decision on what skills to put in the game to ultimately help people get skills
Yeah.
to get a job?
Yeah, I wish I could say we were doing something that scientific and I had an AI going out and parsing through all this stuff and coming back and telling. But really, what it comes down to is we have a discussion. We're a startup company, so it's a handful of us, and so we have a discussion. Hey, what is the scenario we're going to be doing? So we set up like a storyboard. Like Francis came up with a storyboard for this next DLC. Then we said, okay, for our dev team, what is the scope of what we can do? Okay, we can probably do 3 more tools. We can probably do some of this and some of that. Then Coleman, who leads our cybersecurity function, says, hey, well, maybe we could do this tool and we could do this tool. And then we discuss it as a team. We figure out what's the most applicable, what are people looking for? Right now we're still so early on that it's not a matter of any pretty much tool, unless we do something really funky and non-mainstream, is going to be something that people are using in the main. There are so many tools we can use just to get people up to a baseline capability. And we intend to have additional DLCs, by the way, after this as well. We've got the next DLC, which is free, mostly for additional content. A lot of the feedback I got was that this was too short. And I think I mentioned to you before, I had one person, they gave us a bad Steam review, which I felt kind of bad about, not because personally, but it actually lowers our rating. It said, I went through this game in an hour, and I didn't reply, but I felt like saying, if you've been through the game in an hour, our lead dev, when he's doing speed runs, can only get through in 38 minutes going the happy path. There's no way that somebody went through cold, and even if they cheated online and went through in an hour. But if you did, I got a job for you because you're amazing at this stuff. But legitimately, some people who are very skilled in this, I did see people do it in as few as 3 or 4 hours. On the other hand, I've had people who've been in there for a week and a half or 2 weeks, and they're still in Discord saying they're stuck on this mission or that mission, which was actually the training missions in your 5, 6, and 7. You're expected to use all the tools that you got and use your own creativity to figure out how you're going to do that, which is as realistic as we can make it, right? It's not a real network; it's a simulated network. But you've got to go through and do a whole bunch of different things and think and puzzle, and so we try to make it as much as possible like a real world situation. So we're going to have additional DLCs coming out in the future. I see the question about red versus blue. We're actually working our way up to that. That certainly is something that's probably come across, and we debated whether or not to do that when we first relaunched. And we decided if we're teaching cybersecurity skills, let's focus on that first and get that, like I said, that learning engine down, and then we can add the PvP capability later on. I was talking with Eric Basu, and he had made a comment that kind of stuck with me. And he said, "You've created the pew pew factor, and this pew pew factor could actually make cyber competitions really, really interesting." And a discussion on that, right? How do we do this? So if we do that, and we've talked through it a number of times, we would probably end up doing a subset of tools, just because we're creating all these tools in World of Haiku, and we would do it in World of Haiku rather than an AWS environment, because there are plenty of capture the flags sitting in the cloud right now. There's nothing new there. I mean, there are environments that do that. So rather than try to build a surface layer on top of an AWS cloud that's trying to measure everybody's input to try to figure out what's going on, we would rebuild it for greater control into the Unity environment we have, because that way we get to have the pew pew, right? We're not trying to look for triggers in an AWS environment to trigger something in a separate graphics program. We're actually in Unity and we're controlling everything, which by definition means we'll have a subset of tools, probably 3 to 5 different tools for attack, 5 different tools for defense. But now that we're in a video game environment, we can do the kind of things that are fun. We can create a Fortnite type of environment where maybe not everything is physically closed, but maybe you're being constrained by other restraints like happening, like viruses invading your system. If you're a defender, or if you're an attacker, suddenly you've got a defense AI coming up and preventing you from doing anything. You've got a timer where you've got to do different sort of things. And so that's absolutely something we're looking at. That is not going to happen in 2022. That's probably a 2023 sort of thing. But absolutely, we're looking at doing a player versus player, and whether or not it's used for competitions or it's simply used as a training tool. But the whole thing about that is we're going to be doing real world commands. It's always going to be a real world command in there. We're not going to have anything that's fake, because we want this to be something that measures actual skills. We don't want to measure somebody's ability to just play a game, right? We want to measure somebody's ability to actually do something, so that I want people to feel like at the end of that, if they are king of the hill and they won everything here, people would go, that person actually has some mad cybersecurity skills. They're pretty darn good. I don't know if everybody remembers when Kevin Mitnick was taken out. Who took out Kevin Mitnick on the government side? I forgot his name.
No, I don't know. I mean, I could tell you everything about Kevin Mitnick's story, but the unsung Fed, right?
It was Japanese last name, and I don't want to I actually speak a little Japanese, but I don't want to misspell. It was a Japanese last name. And Mitnick said, as he was being arrested, he said, "I respect your skills." That's what I want people to be saying when somebody wins the King of the Hill, rather than, "Yeah, you play a pretty good game." No, I respect your skills. You're actually pretty good at this stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I tried to quickly Google who it was. Couldn't do it. Google failed me. My Google foo. I do want to say, though, that one thing that I experienced on stream, much to my chagrin, is that, I go through the first couple levels, and, Rascal is kind of holding my hand and telling me like all the things I need to know and everything. And I was like, okay, blah, 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 blah. So I wasn't paying. Oh, thank you. Yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't even know how to say that, honestly.
Almost, yeah.
Yeah. So Rascal's helping me along, and I'm just going YOLO, like just straight through, not taking any notes, not writing any IPs, nothing. And then I basically got to a point in the game where I'm like, oh, I need to like jump into a server. What's the IP address? And you can only scroll back so far. You don't have the luxury of like infinite history. So I actually had to restart the game and actually, take notes and stuff like that, which I will argue is how you would operate as a pen tester. You should be you don't go on an engagement and just go ham, right? Like,
that's one thing we've tried to avoid is, and I found this myself when I'm playing through it, is I tend to read what Rascal gives me, and whatever the latest IP there is, I don't even read the context. I just type the IP in. I'm kind of embarrassed to say I got stuck on one mission for a while and asked the dev, I said, "Hey, I think we got a bug here." He goes, "Are you using the correct IP?" I said, "I'm using the last one." "Oh, well, hold on. Let me go look before I say anything else that makes me look even stupider." Sure enough, I was using the IP that Rascal gave me because I wasn't using my. So we actually do have things in like that in there to try to get people out of the idea that I'm trying to speed run through this and I'm just using the last thing that was given to me. but I actually need to think and look through that. And we're going to try and do that more in DLCs that are coming up. The DLC that's coming up, even though we're going to add a couple new tools, we're going to assume that everybody remembers all the skills they learned in the first missions. And these are going to be very difficult. I mean, if somebody speed runs through them in less than an hour, I'd be actually pretty shocked. We're going to make them relatively difficult. You're going to need to do your OSINT. You're going to need to, well, not OSINT, outside of the game, within the game. You're going to need to, look through different files for tools. You're going to need to use all the for clues. You're going to need to use all the tools that are given you. You're going to have to use some brain power. We're going to make this more and more like a realistic red team and blue team scenario where this is going to be pretty challenging. So I think we're going to have people get stuck on it without a doubt. But I got to say, for most of the people that are stuck on it, I see people grousing about it and going, "This game sucks. I'm going to rage quit." Most people are like, especially the ones in our Discord, they're asking for help and saying, "Hey, I don't want any spoilers, but give me a little hint here."
Yeah, I love it, and I liked how you mentioned Fortnite. Like I have younger children. I mean, they're not babies, but they're younger, so they play Fortnite, and I play Fortnite with them just so I can have. They're not quite into cybersecurity as much as I am, so we'll get them there with World of Haiku. But I do play Fortnite, and I was instantly thinking, oh man, like that'd be cool, like having microtransactions where like Diamond is Avalon, but like I could have my avatar and I could get get upgrades and change my look and vibe and my feel of who my character is in the game, a la Fortnite, right? Maybe add some emotes or something like that.
Somebody said that in Neil's chat last night. They said, "Are you planning to do this?" I'm like, "In time. Let me get the engine built first, then we'll worry about what people look like." But certainly we want to add all that stuff. I mean, if people get really, I mean, my idea here is that everybody, the Haiku product suite, when you go from World of Haiku over to Haiku Pro, this is something you can continue to use throughout your career. And so we actually have a whole map drawn out. As I come in as a novice, I play World of Haiku, I get really interested in it, and I develop some skills. I move on to Haiku Pro, and I start developing some more skills. And maybe now in parallel, I'm working, like we're teamed with San Diego State University. They do a cybersecurity certification. We provide the hands-on portion of that, and they provide the certification. Maybe I, use one of these other partners, and I get an actual cybersecurity certification. And now, as I'm looking at the jobs, now I can get connected to jobs. And when I'm applying for jobs, now I've got my skills resume and I've got the job. And the idea there is that if we have enough content in Haiku Pro, which is the intent, I can continue to improve my skills, offensive, defensive, and forensic. And I'm continuing to take notes and improve my skills as I continue throughout my career.
I really do appreciate it and enjoy it. So, okay, so I am kind of curious. I agree 100%, right? That like the Fortnite skins would be wicked cool, but at the end of the day, the entire point, like for you to measure success, it's to help people get a career or level up a career in cybersecurity through learning in World of Haiku, right? So like Fortnite skins are fun, but they don't help you learn anything. So I appreciate that you've prioritized content and more educational skills-based stuff there. So we have talked about a lot of stuff. I mean, to be able to use it throughout your career, are you thinking like it's just like building kind of a library of different modules or different worlds, or is it going to be more like an open world kind of thing? I know you had mentioned Elder Scrolls, so you're familiar with that. Obviously, that's a massive project, right? Bethesda has been like 14 years trying to make Skyrim 5 or 6. You know what I mean? Like it's like, so I'm not suggesting that, but I mean, I guess I'm trying to wrap my head around if that's kind of the perk where you could be like, I'm a red team operator, but I want to get into blue. Let me take this skill path and learn, and then leverage the job connect piece to find the jobs that I'm qualified for. Oh, I'm not quite qualified for the ones I want yet. Let me keep grinding, keep leveling up, and now I am. And like kind of almost like a automated, like Rascal is your mentor or your chaperone or your Sherpa helping you along that career journey. Is that, I don't even know if that was really a question, Eric, but I guess what I'm thinking is like, okay, like I went GRC, which I know is very difficult to make paths for, but GRC, it's compliance, audit, risk, then CISO. I could see, that kind of trajectory. Is that how you're envisioning, the skill platform?
Big pockets like Elon Musk, because if I did, you'd have a virtual world where you can basically go practice every cybersecurity thing and you're actually doing the skills in real world. I actually have a friend who's probably one of the best privacy lawyers in the world, and he actually wants to team with us to be able to create a privacy very specific module where you're a CEO or you're a board member going through here in virtual situations, and being able to do that. So there is that. On the World of Haiku side, we're intending to continue having DLCs. Some will be paid if they take a little more work. Some will be
Hmm.
free. We're thinking about having a DLC. My kids are homeschooled, and we're thinking about having a DLC. I was like, why don't we create a DLC that is basically a computer instruction course. But most kids don't want to learn how to hack. I mean, so I can have my kids do the this, and they get a basic Linux sort of instruction. But what kids really to know is, how do I use my computers? How do I stay safe from my where? How do I avoid phishing? How do I avoid predators? That ties into I serve on the board of advisors. I chair the board of advisors for a nonprofit called Saved in America.
Hmm.
Former military, former law enforcement. They work pro bono with families to rescue kids. And so I've heard so many stories about how kids are fished online, or not even fished, they're just tricked by predators. So, a DLC that basically kids can use for not only homeschoolers, but kids actually in school and actually get, credit as a computer class. It teaches them how do I operate defensively in this world where everything is connected. On the Haiku Pro side, it's all modular. And Haiku Pro, by the way, it's browser based. It all operates through a browser. We're building it for Chrome, but it works. When I try it in Safari, it works in Safari, but mainly we're building it for Chrome. And you go in there and you can actually go through and you've got a Kali Linux bot attached to a network, one or more computers in the back end. You get a set of goals, and you've got to go and you get a time limit. You've got to go ahead and do those goals. It's a box for folks that go in there and go, oh my God, it doesn't have my pink hippo tool. We can only put so many things into Kali Linux because it takes a long time to spin up. If anybody cares about that, if you try to add every tool they have in there. But we're starting off with a small subset when we release end of September on that. When we release Haiku Pro, by the way, at the end of September, that's when the other tools are going to come in, the Haiku Skills Resume and the Job Connect. Those are all connected to Haiku Pro. And so everybody with a World of Haiku account can connect their World of Haiku account to Haiku Pro. And now you can visualize all the things we talked about. I had somebody that gave us a bad review because said, well, they advertise these things in the video and they don't actually have them. And I felt kind of bad about that. We were planning to release all the products at the same time, but it just doesn't work that way necessarily with product schedules. So our Haiku Pro product is taking longer to build. So those features are there. I'm not, baiting switching anybody. It's just taking a little while for them to come out there. But with Haiku Pro, because we've got the modular capability in there to build ranges and have additional ranges, probably under a dozen ranges. But after that, we're going to continue to add ranges. And then eventually we hope to have hundreds or even thousands of ranges out there that cover, as you said, we want to cover forensic, we want to cover defensive, and we want to cover red team as well. So that there's a whole variety, different levels, so you want to go out there and try the impossible range that nobody's ever beat, knock yourself out.
Get first blood on it, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Just a couple quick fire questions from chat. I do appreciate all the chat's questions, and I've been trying to weave them in, kind of around pricing really quick.
Yeah.
Carrie asked if there's veteran discounts, or do you do discounts in any capacity? And Paul asked about voucher gift purchases. So if you could kind of speak to the pricing model and address their two questions, I'd appreciate
Sure.
that.
So Steam is $24.99. I can't offer specific discounts to one group on Steam. Now, that being said, in a month, we're offering it again. We're offering it also on our site as well, the ability to do that. And actually like that, for any of my folks that are on the line, if you can make a note to send to me, is that let's look at doing veterans discounts. I think we absolutely need to do that. It's a sign of respect for the people that have, sacrificed for our country. The pricing of World of Haiku is $24.99, as I said. Haiku Pro, we're going to have a free version, which we're releasing with 2 free ranges. We're going to have a $9.99 version, which allows access to most of the ranges and some limited part of the skill features. And then $17.99 is the highest pricing range, where you have access to all the different features that you want. And yeah.
Perfect. Well, we'll have to have you back on when you launch all of that, so we can take
Love
a look
to.
at it and discuss it, and also raffle stuff off. Speaking of raffle, let us raffle off the final 5 prizes. Now, this is for merch This is for US-based individuals only. Good luck to all of you. If you win, contact me in chat. If you are not US-based, we will get you a different prize, okay? That's the easiest way to facilitate this, okay? So good luck to everybody. Thank you, Eric, for donating. I'm just going to rip through these. Good luck to everybody. Nightbot will be notifying you in chat. First winner, Austin Thomas. Great profile photo, Austin. I know you guys can't see it, but I can. William Helsel. William Helsel. I see you in Simply Cyber Daily Threat Briefing all the time, William, and thanks for the squad membership. Adam Lieb is our next winner. Nice graphic design on that profile photo. I think that is that 3? That's 3, correct? Yep, that's 3, I think. The next winner is Brian Dan with the strong bad profile photo. I don't know if you ever watched Homestar Runner, Eric. You were probably doing Navy SEAL stuff when it happened, but Homestar Runner was like this internet thing way back in the day when the internet first started blowing up. And I think, okay, I'm going to apologize because I think that was 4 winners. I'm going to choose one more, and if it is the 6th winner, I will figure something out, and I apologize. I will get you something.
If miscounted, we'll kick in an additional one.
Okay, cool. So the final or the bonus winner is Pamela Heggie. Yeah, Pamela. She's a long-time Simply Cyber community member, very engaging. You know what, Pamela? Even if you were the 6th, we're definitely going to take care of you one way or the other. So thank you again, Eric.
Of course. Yeah, no, thank you
for everything. Yeah, of course. So everybody, I've dropped a link in chat a little while ago. Eric, we can make that link like discord.gg/haiku. I'll tell you about that afterwards.
Oh, okay.
Get you set up so it's wicked easy to share with people and be able to communicate it effectively. Eric, any final thoughts, last words before we say goodbye to you?
No, Jerry, thank you very much for bringing me on. I really appreciate it. I appreciate the opportunity. Jerry asked me what my goals were from this, and I said I'd love to communicate the vision of Haiku out to people, because I see a lot of people go, hey, this is a pretty cool game. And then I say, yeah, but we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And I see that all the time in the Discord. When I mention the skills resume, somebody's like, you're going to do that? Oh my God, that's so cool. And I'm like, okay, I've got to actually tell people what we're doing here, because we're trying to do a lot more than create a cool video game. Cool video game, great. We want to create a cool video game. But beyond that, we're actually trying to, change the way in which people can learn skills. We're trying to disrupt the entire, industry from this portion by having things that are cost the price of a video game, but give you the amount of training. I don't know if anybody saw it. There was a great article on Duolingo, and they said that I think doing the first 4 levels in Duolingo is the equivalent of 4 semesters of that same language in college, same level, and Duolingo's free. And I looked at that and I sent it to my team and I said, this is what we want to do. We want to be able to basically make it so that people get as good or better of an education from what we're doing than they get anywhere else, and basically, enable so many more people to go into cybersecurity. That's all I wanted to say.
That's awesome. All right. Well, I think you're nailing it. I would keep executing on it, Eric. Obviously, you are well-trained in executing missions to completion, so I have no doubt in my mind that World of Haiku will continue to grow and be a real effective tool for the members of our of the entire cybersecurity community. So thank you. I enjoy playing it, and I appreciate you taking the time to come on the show today.
Thank you very much, Jerry. Thanks, everybody.
Absolutely. All right, so let's send Eric away. Actually, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to leave you on, Eric, if that's okay.
That's
Do you
fine.
mind? I'll leave you on, because if I take you away, it's going to change the layout and it's going to be a hot mess on fire. So I just want to share with everybody. Where is? Oh, hold on. I made a slight mistake here. Classic my stream. All right, guys, I just want to remind everybody, thank you for being here for the Thursday live interview. Eric was an amazing guest. Obviously, Eric, you do interviews all the time and you just crush it, so it's obvious. But appreciate Diamond for being in chat, bringing that celebrity right into the Simply Cyber community chat. Appreciate that, Diamond. All of you, fantastic job. Great questions, great engagement. Guys, continue to help each other. I really genuinely appreciate it. Oh, we got a couple new squad members. I'd love to play the sound effect. But you know what happens if I try to do something crazy with my audio, Eric? It goes straight to crap. So Eric Silberman, thank you for the squad support. Christopher Aquino, wow. So just as a quick aside, Eric, I have a sound effect when people join my Simply Cyber squad, and I can't play it. So in a affinity for my community, I manually make the sound effects when my audio breaks, and they've ripped it and made it sound bits and stuff like that. So anyways, I do it because I really should have a better audio setup. But anyways, guys, if you don't know, tomorrow morning, like every other morning of the week, I do the daily threat briefing. So if you want to get, a 30-minute tightly packed top cybersecurity news stories of the day with my professional analysis on each story on how you can operationalize it if you're a practitioner in the space, or if you're looking to break into the industry, you could be using World of Haiku to get those skills, but you're also going to be asked, I absolutely guarantee you, you will be asked, how do you stay current in cybersecurity? That question will happen 100% of the time. This right here is a banger answer, okay? So it's not just, a quick answer to be able to clear it. Like, you're literally getting knowledge that you can use. So come join us. Go to simplycyber.io/streams to see when the next one is, but it's every weekday morning at 8 a.m., and we have a great time over there. So with that, I'm going to say thank you to Eric. Thank you to chat. Everybody, goodbye, and we'll see you in the next stream. Cheers, everybody.
Thanks, sure.